Okay, I'm going to show you how I work the phony seams on my designs. This one is not my design, but I'm at the end where I'm going to put a phony seam in, and so I'm going to show you how to do it. What you'll need is a crochet hook, and you're going to want the crochet hook to be consistent with the size of the yarn that you're using. So if you're using bulkier yarn, you're going to want to have a larger crochet hook. So here I am. This is the side, this is the underarm right here. And so what I want to do is I want to put a seam, a phony seam in here so that when I lay it flat, it has an area to lay flat on. And I just love the way it looks. So in this pattern, it's before I'm going to be doing any type of ribbing. So I do the phony seam before I do any type of ribbing, and so that it gives you a nice look. So here we are. This is my beginning of the round marker right here, and then halfway around I have another marker. So in this pattern there are 300 stitches on this fingering weight, and to get me a 50-inch bust. So I have a marker before the first stitch and after the 150th stitch, which is half. So I'm going to take this first stitch, I'm just unknitting it because I finished this last night before I went to bed, and I never end with my marker just kind of hanging out here. I always knit the first stitch so that I don't lose my marker. But I'm going to be using this first stitch, so I'm going to just simply unknit it, and then we're going to drop it, and we're going to manipulate the yarn, and we're going to drop it on purpose. It's very freeing. So you see, I kind of have to pull on it because it does eventually stop, because this is actually merino wool. This wool is dyed by Cake Wool Company, but I'll put all that information below, along with the name of the pattern. So you see, I'm going to work it down. Right to this first stitch. See that first stitch right there? So I'm gonna take my crochet hook. It's not really that important what size it is, but you need to easily be able to get into the stitch. All right, so I'm going to take this one down and this one down. So here I have my first stitch, and this crochet hook is even a little bit too big for what I want to do. Well, okay. So we have our stitch on the crochet hook, and we're going to pick up these rungs of the ladder, I call them. We're going to pick them up at a rate of 2 and then 1. So we're going to take these first 2 rungs and pull them through. And then we're going to take 1 and pull it through. So two rungs of the ladder, pull it through the stitch, and 1. And you're simply, that didn't work out. So 2, I grab 2 again, and then 1, pull through. 2 rungs of the ladder, and then 1. Now what this does is create a beautiful phony seam, and I read about this from Elizabeth Zimmerman, because she was the queen of doing patterns in the round, and she came up, I don't know if she came up with this, but that's how I learned it. So you see I'm just taking 1 and then 2. Now let's say the phone rings or you have to go pick up your kids from school or whatever, and you leave it. And then you're gonna go and do something else. When you pick it up, you're gonna see that there's 2 rungs. There's 2 rungs on here. And so you know you have to just simply do 1. Similarly, if you picked it up and there was 1 on here, you knew that your next grab would be 2. And you simply follow that all the way up. Now you can see here, it's barely visible. There's no change in the fabric, the length of the fabric, but there's a very defined, and when you block this, do you see how it's going to lay so nice and flat? So I'm going to work this up here and simply stick it on the needle, and I will show you how I do that. Okay, now I'm coming up to the top, and I have ended up with 2 rungs right here, and there are only 2 rungs left. So you're simply going to, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, and that's perfectly fine. So you're simply going to just pick up each rung, right? And then we're going to put it back onto our needle. We just simply put the stitch back on the needle, and then we can put our beginning of the round marker here, and then we can start knitting across and then do the same thing on the other side. So there you have it.